Someone linked me this video on my Hot Topics channel, which is like my non-Overwatch type react thing. They linked me this. Marvel Rivals has a Spider-Man problem from last month. It's from March 24th. Marvel Rivals kind of does. I mean, you're not technically wrong. I don't know. Thought we watched this already? No, we didn't. We did not watch this. All right, I'm in. I'm stuck downloading something right now, so I can't be loaded in the game. So let's watch it.
Spider-Man, he's a criminal. That's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
You've turned the whole city against him.
A fact I'm very proud of. Now, get your pretty little portfolio off my desk before I go.
When looking at the types of characters in Marvel Rivals, you may have heard some people talking about diver or flanker type heroes. These are characters that typically have an insanely high skill ceiling based around their talents for phenomenal mobility and quick.
What do you mean? You can just swing in, hit 2 buttons, and kill somebody. That's not skill.
Instant KOing burst combos to secure kills. The trade-offs for these heroes is that they are typically glass cannons. Even the slightest mistake can result in not only missing your combo, but also a quick and untimely visit to the respawn room. For tanks, we have characters like Captain America and Venom, and for the bigger category of DPSs, we have
Oh no, 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 no.
have Psylocke, Star-Lord,
Oh,
Black
how fast things can change.
Panther, Iron Fist, and of course, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is an excellently designed hero, offering some of the most accurate depictions of his abilities in the game, which is an amazing feat to pull off, but from NetEase's point of view, this creates a difficult design problem. In game balance, you generally want heroes that are easy to play to have a low limit on the reward, and heroes that are hard to play to have a high limit to their reward. For example, you want your snipers who require headshots to reward excellent accuracy, but offer not much to those who can't aim well. But what happens when your game matures and people figure out how to minimize your risks while maximizing their heroes' rewards?
Well, with Widow, you just make it so the headshot can't one-shot you, and they'll always just permanently suck.
The meta's developed,
Unless you find a way to work around that.
Spider-Man went from a mid-tier to low-tier pick, generally being less favored to other flankers like
Whose tier list is this? I feel like this is like Boger's. Am I crazy? It looks like yours. Well, the setup looks like mine, but it's not, because I would never put meta very strong noob stomper. I'm an S to F ranker. This has got to be Boger's.
Psylocke and Black Panther to a consistent target for bans among Grandmaster and up players. So what makes Spider-Man so good?
What does it matter who it is? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. What's the point of talking about anything? What's the point of even watching videos? Because it's interesting. Like, wait, whose is this? What?
With the amazing Spider-Man!
Maybe JJJ was right.
I want the public to see Spider-Man for the 2-bit criminal he really is. He's a fake. He's full of stickum.
As time has gone on, the trade-off for risk and reward has swung in the favor of Spider-Man. Players have learned how to optimize him and have taken the weaknesses he has and have turned them into strengths. The source of Spider-Man's lethality comes primarily from his...
Let me guess. The weakness is high risk, so he might die a lot. But people will figure out how to make rollouts back. And so even if he dies, he's back like within 2 seconds. And then gets value by getting those big trades or deaths, and then plays for like ult.
Movement, right? Web swings, wall sprinting, and even techs like B-hops and spawn rollouts make it so that Spider-Man can not only be anywhere he wants to be, but also has one of the smallest punishments for getting caught out because of how quick he can get back to his team. So where does the Spider-Man want to be?
Streamer, no.
Well, your backline,
Streamer might know a thing or two.
We're between a mix of a 55 damage, 5-meter radius launching uppercut, a 50 damage, 20-meter stunning lasso, a bonus 45 damage from webbing a target with the tracer, and a devastating and unblockable melee combo. Every character below 300 health will instantly be KO'd against...
I feel like you could say those, like, they make a good point. I just want to be careful. When you say stuff like that, like when you describe things like that, you can make any character sound OP. The point still stands, but like, you know, it's
a skilled Spider-Man if they don't land a kill combo of the
like you could say with Hela, you're like with two. I forget how much it does off the top of my head, but it's like 170 damage headshots. In 1 second, you could delete a support because you hit 2 quick headshots. You know what I mean? It's like
their own. But in case you have spent the game not securing kills as a Spider-Man, don't worry. Spider-Man also has one of the fastest charging ultimates in the entire game.
There it is. Okay, there. I was waiting for it because like the thing that actually kind of makes him like really annoying is like punishing him for killing him doesn't feel like much, and so he just comes back super fast. So if he gets a trade, like he's typically back faster. And then on top of that too, that trade gives him like 30% ult charge. So he just comes back and ready to hit his Q. That being said, though, it's funny because most of the Spider-Man players aren't that good. Like they just kind of just do the same 4 buttons over and over, but they've learned that 4 buttons actually gets them good value. But at the same time, though, like they're so pesky and so annoying. And like when you get one on your team and their 4-button combo doesn't work, they never swap either. That's where I'm assuming this is gonna go. Actually, it might not. We'll see.
At a cost of just 2,800. For comparison, Human Torch's Supernova takes 1,200 more points at 4,000, and arguably, I would say that his ultimate is significantly worse. But just being around enemies generates value for Spider-Man. If you try to deal with the Spider-Man, you will likely spend far too long trying to track him down. If you ignore him, it could be at the cost of the lives of your supports or your DPSs. So what can you do to counter a good Spider-Man? Not much, it turns out. Of course, you could try Namor, sort of the designed-in counter to the web-slinging menace. But what if Namor catches a premeditated ban?
Well, they kind of nerfed a lot of the things too that would help you this season. I mean, this is before, right? This video came up before the new season, which is funny. But like things like Loki, Loki actually, but I was gonna say Adam. Like you just like if you play Adam in like triple support or like whatever, basically all you do is you just sit there and never hit your E. You just don't. Like anytime you get pressured, E. Get pressured again, E. And by the time they come back around for a third time, you have your first E back. And so then what you do is you just like endlessly cycle your E on yourself. You don't ever heal teammates. You just heal yourself and that's it. Because it will bounce and hit teammates. And so you just sit there and just roll them on the support role. The DPS role, you play Namor. The DPS role, well, now everyone else is playing Dive. So I guess you just kind of run at their team. Before that, it would have been a little different. And then like for tank, it was like Mag. You'd be fine, you know?
Your only remaining options as a DPS are Winter Soldier, Squirrel Girl, and Scarlet Witch, all of whom, besides Bucky, have spotty successes in the current metagame.
Wait, this was from last season. Wait, why the hell is Bucky hit in a spotty? Bucky was crazy last season.
As a support, maybe you could try Cloak and Dagger's Vanish, Invisible Woman's Boop, Jeff's Swim, Rocket's Boost, Loki's Lamp, Luna and Mantis's Stun, and Adam Warlock you can try picking a god and praying.
Wait, what? Okay, so this is why, no offense, this is why there's a little bit of a disparity when people were saying last month Dive isn't meta, and a lot of the metal rank players are saying Dive is hard meta, and Spidey's getting hard banned, and he's not getting banned last month in high elo, because something like that, which is just like, oh yeah, that's so obvious to me. Like, yeah, they're gonna play a Spider-Man, just run on you every time. Yeah, you just play triple support, you full hands, your Adam just hits E every time someone comes in, boom, win. Loki, same thing. And then like Luna's a little bit more difficult. Mantis was playable. Invis actually would, as long as you're not getting caught by surprise, would be okay too. But the fact that like this is pre-big Adam nerfs. That's why it doesn't work as much anymore, because Adam kind of got big nerfed. So it's a little bit tougher now in today's day and age. But like that's just like a big like, oh, that's so obvious to me.
Miss any of these defensive
it's probably not common
however,
knowledge,
and
or wasn't common
it's
knowledge.
Likely a trip back to spawn with you. But if a Spider-Man misses his combos, he probably has already swung back to his team. Meanwhile, you've just sunk your only defensive tools if you miss yours. So surely a character with
but he won't be back so fast that like your cooldowns won't be back off cooldown.
Best mobility in the game and a
die,
touch of death combo on 80% of the cast would be horrible against tanks, right? While Spider-Man can't instant KO tanks like he can squishies, this really isn't a problem for him. Most tanks can't punish the Spider-Man from his attacks well enough to shut him completely down, and because Spider-Man's uppercut has such a large radius, he likely will hit both the tank and nearby supports with his swing, allowing him to easily transition to the higher priority targets. But being good is a problem that can be fixed. But as one user
He's so uniquely problematic because
put so succinctly, he's so uniquely problematic because character-wise, he's perfect. I feel like I am Spidey swinging across the map and beating up bad guys. And that's really fun and good character design gameplay-wise. However, he's stupidly unfun to fight. He moves at Mach 100, kills your supports with a BS long reach one-shot combo, leaves, and does it all over again all game. Not to mention how frustrating he can be to have on your team, being almost unhealable. Although people being bad at Spidey isn't your character's fault. You can't take away what makes him Spidey, duh. But the way he is right now is seriously unfun.
Welcome to hero shooters. Not saying it's a good thing. Welcome to hero shooters, though. We've been going on this train for years of like when a character is not only if a character is fun to play but not fun to play against. Good example from Overwatch was Doomfist or Roadhog. It just makes everyone else in the lobby have no fun. But those characters were fun to play. Now you take it into the cinematic universe of Marvel, where you actually can't change those things. Ooh, Brig? Stop. Nobody enjoyed playing Brig. When Brig came out, people did not like playing Brig. People enjoyed winning with Brig. There was a term coined for the year of GOATs called Brig Jail. That's why people now say things like support jail or whatever, because like that was coined during that era.
It's not just that Spider-Man is good, it's that he's good and he creates a bad problem. Every game is at its best when everyone feels like they have their place. No one oversteps the boundary of the other. But to a Spider-Man, the world is their oyster, a boundless playground, while small health bars are snapped in half while large ones are stored in the fridge for later. Spider-Man has continued to climb the tier list rankings, and without more ways to counter him, he may go from a beloved favorite to a hated menace of the community.
You cooked!
I believe that the best way to deal with Spider-Man is...
You cooked! March 24th, today's April 25th, you cooked!
Not to nerf him directly, although he likely will catch some nerfs. I believe that the best way to deal with him is to provide better options for the rest of the cast. He is balanced on such a razor's edge, however, because it requires a good player to see the best use out of him.
I'll be real with you, dude. I feel like Spidey's not that hard. I don't play a ton of them. I've only played them like here and there in quick play for a little bit of funs and memes. I get it. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm insane. I'm not saying I could do it either. But like, here's the real talk. The truth that most people don't want to hear. A player doesn't have to be the top player on every single hero to understand if a hero is strong or not. That's just the truth. Not the truth you want to hear, but it's the truth. Like, I am not a top-ranked Loki player. I can look you in the eyes and tell you Loki's really damn good. I am not a top-level Hela player. I can look you in the eyes and tell you Hela is really good. Do I say the Penny one? Nah. I'll leave it just where it is. But you'll know what I was going to say. Regardless, I don't think Penny's that strong. Not Penny's that strong. You f***ing baited me! I saw someone say it. I was gonna say Spider-Man's not that hard.
Isn't good enough to warrant where he is right now.
So reading chat whilst talking sometimes is hard. I accidentally end up saying something that I'm reading instead of saying what I was trying to say.
Now, I feel like as though Spider-Man will continue to get better and better, and the ways to counter him will get less and less for him. And even characters that are good, such as Namor, may become more of an issue as time has gone on. We're running into a situation where characters need to be banned in order for certain characters to exist, but there aren't enough bans in the game to catch everything that you might need.
Add more bans. 6 bans.
But how often are we going to get a different form of Spider-Man? Maybe a character that isn't Spider-Man directly. Maybe a character that is so good at busting tanks, like somebody else I know, that absolutely must be dealt with and must be banned in order for your tanks to be able to play the game. I believe right now, Spider-Man is in a similar position, where he absolutely must be dealt with for a good portion of your squishies and your supports to see any value, but there's just simply not enough of them to go around, and there's not enough options to be able to counter him. The counterplay to Spider-Man is just to simply avoid him, and when he has the ability,
you know, the idea of adding more bans isn't actually a bad idea.
And the mobility to get
I know I was memeing a little bit,
that's
but
nigh impossible.
It's actually not a bad idea.
I want to see Spider-Man be amazing, but as it stands right now, he's a menace. Thanks for watching. If you
I was gonna say,
who is Spider-Man?
They actually kind of cooked. I don't think they realized they cooked into the future. You wouldn't not been able to do it. Yeah, like seeing into the future like that is hard. But it's actually very, 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 very funny. Here we are a month later, and even though a dive isn't like super hard meta, I don't think in the highest ranks. Like it's played a lot though. Like it's weird. It's like you can get value, but like if you're talking like scrims and pro play, one, we haven't got to publicly see it, but I've heard a little bit here and there. That being said, not saying it isn't. It definitely is a problem. I think it's very funny considering the current state of things and where things are at. And actually, I think they announced today that Spidey's gonna get a nerf. I think he might end up becoming one of those characters you just can't let be meta. Like we had the problem in Overwatch with Doomfist. At some point, we just said, okay, Doomfist just never can be meta. We can never buff him to the point where he's meta. And you have to keep him always on the weaker side. Even though he's really fun and really fun to play, it ruins everyone else's experience. So you kind of have to, you know, and it's the only way it works long term. So it is what it is, I guess. Like Genji? Oh no, you did not speak that into existence. Oh god, I'm not speaking on that one. You're gonna get me in trouble.